Clear? Clear? Not clear? Shall I take a next step? Shall I take? Did you understand the difference between logic and magic? Knowingly or unknowingly, every people wants some magic to happen in their life. Right? Agree, disagree? Correct? Now what we will see in this triple C session is how to make your life as magical. Clear? Let's take a next step. Science is nothing. The science approach is this. If you give anything to science, there are three major steps what they take. Let's say you give this flower to a scientist. 3 steps he follows. I'm talking about your scientific study method. How a scientist study? First is observation. What he does is, he takes that object and simply observes. I think we have talked enough example in this observation. All the outcome of your study, all the study work you did, right? It's a product of observation only. Let's say if you want to understand a lion, you go to a jungle and observe that. Yes or no? If you want to study a sun, you put a telescope and observe it. If you want to study a moon, you put a telescope and observe it. If you want to understand a human organ, you take a microscope and study it. Yes, no? No? Yes or no? You're confused?
I didn't listen.
You lost?
Yeah,
Where did you lost?
I don't. I just went blank.
What we are saying is, to study any subject, to study any subject, the scientific method what people follow is this. That is, first they do observation. If you give any object to the scientist, first they start observing. Let it be a plant, let it be an animal, let it be a earth, sun, moon, star, a human body, everything. First they start observing. Once they observe, then they document it, that this is my observation. So I'll just quickly take one small example. Let's say I want to understand a lion. What I'll do is, I'll go to jungle, put my binoculars, or what is it? Camera, binoculars and other things. I'll start observing. I'll see what is the size, how does it look like, what does it eat, when it sleeps, how it behaves. All this I'll start observing. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Then I start documenting it. Right?
Yes.
Lion eats this, it sleeps like this, it gets up at this time, this many hours it will sleep, this is what it will eat, this much it eats, how many times it eats, this is its lifespan. Correct?
Yes.
Everything you observe, you document it. You took the document and kept it aside. Now another lion you'll observe. Correct? Lion 2 you'll observe. Once again you document all these things. Then lion 3 you observe. Once again you document all these things. Correct? Now after that what you will do? You take all these three and compile it. Correct? This comparison or compiling is what you called as generalization. What does it mean? Generalization? Generalization means you are trying to find the similarities or standards. Okay, a lion height and weight is this much on an average. So let's say lion 1 is 100 kgs, example. Lion 2 is 70 kgs. Lion 3 is 120 kgs. So what you'll say?
60 to 120.
A lion will weigh somewhere around, a grown up lion weighs somewhere around
70 to 120.
70 to 120. Correct? Let's say eats. You will say it will eat weekly once, example. And it eats 12 kgs. Lion 1 eats 12 kgs. Lion 2 eats, let's say, 7 kgs. Lion 3 eats 11 kgs. So you'll say between these to this. Correct? So like this, you go on generalized what your observation is. Then you conclude that this is the way lion functions. Correct?
Yes.
The scientific method is only this, that is observation, generalization and conclusion. Clear? Is this clear or not clear? Okay? Or you are observing?
I'm not.
Or you are in generalization?
No, I'm okay with it.
You are with me?
Yeah.
Don't you think so? All the scientific discovery is an outcome of this method only. Observation, generalization and conclusion. Even with the human body, you must observe. You are saying that a human's height is this much. Correct?
Yes.
It will be somewhere between, just tell me the height.
And up to 6 and up.
Somewhere around 4.5 to 6.5. Example in India.
Minimum height is 5'7". We generalize it as
5'7"
5'7" to 6".
On average. Yes.
So you say, you take it as aggregate. You'll say that it should be between,
5, 7.
5 to 6.
correct? Same with the weight.
Yeah.
You'll say somewhere between 40 to
100.
100. Yes or no? You generalize like this?
Yeah.
Same way. With the quantity of the blood what a person holds, you will say on an average of
Male hemoglobin rate is
13 or 14.
11 to 15.
what?
Male's hemoglobin.
Not hemoglobin.
Blood.
Blood.
Liters.
How many liters?
I don't know.
Okay, some liter. Between this to this,
Yes.
correct? Temperature,
98.
between this to this,
Yeah.
right? Heartbeat, between this to this,
Blood pressure.
hmm?
Baby.
BB, between this to this, pulsate, between this to this, sugar level, between this to this, correct? So everything we have defined like this.
Yes.
How did we define it?
Observation.
observed it.
Generalization.
We took one person, we took his all this information, we took a second person, took all this information, third person, all this information, then we generalized it and we concluded it. So all the medical parameters is passed based upon this only. We do a test of you and we check whether it falls into this parameter or not.
Yes.
If it goes down or up, then only we call as
Patient.
ailment. Then only we call as patient, right? Agree, disagree?
I agree. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is all the scientific study is based upon these three. It's one method only. Okay, people follow this method. Do any study work. Clear? Clear, not clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
So, if you have to study, let's say you have to study something new. Right now studying, right? What is the method you will follow?
First, we'll observe the footage.
Footage, huh?
I mean, I'm the editor, so
Okay.
we'll have to observe the footage fully.
So first you observe,
A lot. Twice, thrice also we have to observe.
okay?
And then we make a rough cut. And then we make the second cut. And finally the conclusion, the final cut.
Okay.
And then it goes for the color corrections, and then it goes for the CD works, and then it goes for the dubbing, RR and everything, and finally then also we make the final cut, and then it goes for the promotions and all that.
Does it fall into these three?
Yes, of course. We analyze and then of course we conclude.
Does it fall into these three?
Yes.
What about yours?
Yes.
Hmm?
Same.
Right? First you observe,
Yes.
then you generalized,
Yes.
then you conclude.
Yes.
Do you think so? All your work falls into this only.
Yes.
Correct? If you understand this one, okay, if you just got this one, then you got the key of doing your work. First thing is, you should not jump in doing something. You first sit and observe. Take time to observe. Sufficiently observe. Is it clear? Don't be in a hurry to perform an action. You first observe. What should you do in observation? Just you watch. Just like how you sit in a cinema hall and watch a movie. When you watch a movie, don't think so you are just observing? Are you performing any action? But you are in a great state of observation. Yes or no? You are observing every smallest details of what is happening inside the movie. What the hero is doing, what the heroine is doing, what the situation is, where the place is, what the villain is doing. Yes or no? All the drama you are observing. Correct? The same way, can't we sit and observe of whatever your work is? Or you want to jump and perform an action? You tell me one thing, how much time you have spent in your life to sit and simply observe? How much time you have spent in your life to sit and simply observe? First of all, did you spend a time?
No idea.
You spend time? Why? Why you didn't spend time to observe something? If you build this quality of observing, this is a very tremendous quality. A yogi is just this. He has a tremendous sense of observation. For an example, I'll just give you a simple example of his sense of observation. Let's say if you give me a piece of apple, okay, I'll just take this apple, put it in my mouth, and I'll chew it. Okay, I'll chew it, I'll take it in. Now I'll start observing each bite what I'm chewing, right? How I'm chewing it, how it is breaking up, what is coming out from that, I'll observe. Next, how it is passing through here, I'll observe. From here, how it is passing down. From there, how it is passing down. From there, what is getting extracted. To that level that at which point of time this food is converting into blood. This food is converting into bone. This food is getting converted into flesh. That is a level of observation. Did you get me what I'm saying? Somewhere this is happening, right? Somewhere this food is getting converted into blood. This food is converted into flesh and bone. You know the spot? You know the spot where this food is getting converted into a bone? No. But let's say you have this kind of observation skills, or you have built this, that you are able to keenly observe the smallest of smallest happenings. You got it? What is happening? Agree? Disagree? From today, you are going to do this. This is a method that you should start observing. Clear? For an example, for yours, you are a sports person. Did you ever sat as an audience, not as a player, as an audience, and observed match? How a person is standing, how that sportsman is standing, how he is moving his legs, where his eyes is, where his hand is, correct? How he is taking a step forward, how he is taking a step backward, how is it taking turn. Did you observe this?
Yes.
Did you observe? How much time?
Till the match ends. From warm till the match on.
How many things you have observed till now? The question is now, what are the details you have observed?
How they hit, how they play, the movement, the fitness they do, everything, the point they make, the strategies, techniques, tactics, everything.
Did you observe?
Yes.
Sure?
Yes.
How much details?
And the detail
ఎంత డీటెయిల్గా అబ్జర్వ్ చేశారు?
అంటే పర్టిక్యులర్గా
అంటే
పాయింట్
I don't remember.
Get right, Lakshmi? We'll give a quick break. Don't worry. How much you observe? What is the details and how much time you observed? Your work is entire observation only.
Fully.
The only thing what they got to do is observation, observation and observation only.
Observe and analyze, observe and analyze.
Now we'll come to analyze. Just let's observe.
Yeah, fully observation.
Don't you think so? It's a most vital quality what you have to build.
Yes.
Correct? So if you see something, you should get details into every small aspect of what you are observing. It's required or not required?
Yes.
Same case with you also. So much of data is there around, right? You have to observe every minute. I'm saying observing. I'm not saying analyzing. I'm not saying that you should perform an action. Just look. Okay, this is there, that is there, that is there, this is there, this is there, this is there. It is something like this. This is your task. Like let's say you came into this house. If I gave you a question that how many objects are there behind? I think as the days goes by, I'll put you into some workshop. Yes, we'll start doing this kind of activity. You have to quickly turn back. I'll give you 3 minutes
Me?
for all.
Okay.
You have to just turn. Okay? I'll give you just 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, you count max amount of object. I don't want the object names also. Just object count. There, behind, you can just count the number of objects. We will see how fastly and how many you can count. This is the method what we are going to do later. Just think. Okay, as a trial, just look at behind. Okay, just guess how many objects? Huh?
Till the end of so far there were 17 objects. 17. 17 and there were around 10 keys or 7 to 10 keys on the key thing, and there was the bronze ka tukda.
How many objects could be there?
Roughly maybe in that shelf it could be like 15 to 20. Easily.
In that shelf itself, more than 200, madam.
More than 200.
Ah, yes.
Every
I didn't say observe this one, you should not observe this and this. I said just observe and just tell the count of object. Did I say that you should just observe the chair, table?
No.
Then just look at that spot where the keys are, right? Just look at that.
Switchboard, switches.
Yes.
All of-
How many objects are there? Let's see.
screws.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Screws,
5.
regulators is all out. Key thing, wires, that keychain.
Okay, how many objects? Huh?
30.
Just guess.
20.
There can be somewhere between
Light.
150 to 100.
Few hundreds.
Hundreds.
Just in the small place.
In the all out itself, there will be some 30, 40.
It should-
All of
In the all out.
Yes.
Why
Just by looking at see, let's say you saw the all out. In all out itself, do you know how many objects I can see? The light, the upper dome, then the middle, then there is a rod inside, the
There's a
Bottom.
liquid.
the bottom, the
Liquid.
liquid,
Escape
the
sticker.
sticker.
Slide.
Yes or no? In that itself 10 हो गया. Yes or no? In that box, number of switches, their holders, their screws.
The pen.
Right? You tell me, if I tell you to turn back and observe, how many things you can observe?
Thousands.
Do you think so? This is what the difference between a person A and the person B? That if I put a person A, he may tell 100 objects. Just the count. I'm not even saying what object it is. If I put a person B, he may tell 200. And that's what the difference is. That's what the difference between a person to person. Correct? Now you tell me which is better. Person A and person B.
Not like better or something.
Okay, which quality?
200 is better because you can even observe the details of it.
Exactly. The more you observe, the more you come to know. The less you observe, the less you come to know. Clear? Not clear. So from today, as a method, okay, these are all methods what we are giving. We don't want to just keep these sessions as dry theories. Okay, we started giving small methods, and you guys have to apply this method. Now onwards, you have to start applying these methods. For an example, last time we said that we talked about commitment, correct? Did you start applying it? Who all start applying it? You started applying. You also. Okay. On what?
On what?
On what?
Commitment. What?
Alarm.
Yes. Okay. You started putting it
Yes.
for alarm to get up.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you set it?
8 o'clock and I started waking up at 6:30. I couldn't sleep because of that alarm.
Okay. This is for getting up. You started applying it. What about you?
I committed not to bunk the college.
Not to
I,
bunk the
I
college.
used to bunk a lot, but
Okay.
right now for my attendance till the end of the semester, I thought not to bunk because they'll detain me for low attendance. So I committed to that.
Okay. Okay.
I applied it for yoga.
For yoga, what?
For sadhana time, slowly I'm increasing the number of times I'm doing.
You are slowly increasing the count of your practices. Okay. What about you?
I'm committing towards my sadhana by gradually increasing the count.
Okay.
Adding the one each day.
Okay.
Let it be minutes or the count, and then that is one. Next is committing to my work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing wherever I'm lacking, and in those areas I'm committing myself to do it. Let it be a failure or success, but still do it. So I'm committing in that way, and then slowly trying to implement on waking up early unsuccessfully.
The number of tasks that earlier I used to perform, I had a big list,
Mm-hmm.
but now I'm thinking like how much I can do and to finish that.
Okay.
Let's say there are 3 tasks.
Mm-hmm.
At any cost, I have to finish the three tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Maximum, it's working out.
Okay.
Just be committed to what I want to finish.
Okay.
That is.
You didn't start applying, madam?
You.
Okay. What about you?
I started, but I failed
What did you try?
doing yoga.
First thing is you should not start doing yoga. Let's say you want to do yoga. Okay. I think I have to still further tell a little bit more thing. I'll tell one example. Is the example okay for you? When I was in my academics, till my intermediate, I never had interest towards education because it was not interesting. Is knowledge interesting? Is information interesting?
No.
Is book is interesting?
No.
Book becomes interesting if some interesting people, right? If there is an interesting person who is opening up this book and who is making this information interesting. Agree or disagree? That is interesting, not really the information. So, unfortunately, I didn't find an interesting person who made the information interesting. So, I was not interested in education. So, most of the time, not most, almost all of the time, I used to play games, just like you. In fact, more than you. I used to literally go to school only for sports. You will see every time I used to have ball only in my hand. Every game I used to play. It's not like particular game, every game. But most of the time ball kind of game. It could be a football, it can be a volleyball, it can be any ball oriented game. Every game I played. Okay. So always I used to tap ball. Tick, 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 tick. If you come to the house, always there will be a ball like this with me. Yeah, like this, always a ball like this, like this, like this, going on hitting tick tick, like this, all those things I did. So that was my quality. Now I have to get educated. So, how to do it? I did only one thing. First,
Tactical yoga.